First of all, if you guys want to just go down the list, introduce yourself, and say a little bit of how you ended up in the field that you're in, that'd be really appreciated. So Noelani, if you wanted to start us off.
Hi everybody, I am Noe. I am a super senior at our PRS department, which is the lower campus. A lot of people don't know that there's actual classes over there. I'm a product of James Campbell High School out in Evan Beach. I won't say what year because I'm pretty sure I'm a lot older than what I look like. I started, I always knew that I wanted to do something with sports from when I was little. I played sports, but I knew I wanted to go into the medical field too. So when I fast forward to high school, I took medical terminology. It was in the back at Campbell. We had path career course, so I went into health, and I knew I didn't want to do nursing. I know that's the Filipino tradition thing, usually the stigma for all you nurses. I have total respect for you guys though. I knew I wanted to go into PT, and that's the dream right now. So that's what I'm currently pursuing.
All right, Lauren, if you want to pick up after that.
Okay. I'm Lauren. I am from here, born and raised, everything, all schools. I graduated from high school from lab school across the street, went to undergraduate here, got a bachelor's, or double majored in biology and interdisciplinary studies. So that's like the make your own major program, and I chose to do mine in international relations, just because I was interested in that. I applied to med school. I was always interested in that. Didn't get in the first time, so I spent the year afterwards just waitressing, tutoring, and working on my MCAT score, which was pretty much the reason why I didn't get in the first time. And then second application round, I made it in, luckily. And when I applied, they offered a double degree program, so it was MD-MPH, and I checked off that box, took my GREs, and got into grad school too, so I was able to do that. So right now I'm in my 4th year of med school and in my 1st semester of my master's program.
Hi, I'm Aniase. I'm also a super senior. If you don't know what that is, that means someone that's going to be in college for more than 4 years. So you're a senior for like a while. But I'm from Kauai originally, and I moved up here for school. So I'm in the food science human nutrition program, and the reason I chose to do that field is when I got out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to work in the medical field, so I was leaning towards KRS because I was an athlete. But then I realized I don't care about bones, I don't care about muscles. Because when it comes down to it, what you think about, what really fuels your body is food. So that knowing that connection between food and your body, and that's what's gonna really tie everything as a whole, that's what interests me, and that's why I became a dietetics student.
Hi everyone, my name is Peggy. So I'm a 2nd year MPH student with a focus in epidemiology. Born and raised here. I went to Māloa, graduated from there, and how I got into public health is my 3rd year in my undergraduate. I majored in microbiology. I did an internship at the state lab in Pearl City. Even though it was more of a microbiology-based internship, my preceptor, he kept talking about public health, and that's where I really started to develop the interest. And I couldn't see myself being a lab rat after graduating, so yeah, it was a nice change.
All right. Well, it's funny that you guys actually brought up the whole super senior topic, because one of the questions that comes up often in college is whether or not it's a good or bad thing to stay in college longer than 4 years. So I just wanted to get a general gist from your personal opinion. Do you think it's a good or bad thing to finish in 4? Because UH is all about pushing you to graduate in 4, if you guys didn't know. So from our panelists, what do you guys think? What's the pros and cons about that, if anybody wants to?
Milk it. Stay in college as long as you can. Because after you graduate, you gotta work the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So honestly, like, if I could go to college for the rest of my life and just keep learning, I would, but I can't, so it's a lot of money.
Anybody else want to?
I graduated in 4 years, but I mean, I feel like some people need 5 or more years just to figure out what they want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're in there for a reason, figure out what you want.
So I actually graduated in 5 years. My 4th year, I was a little conflicted of what I wanted to do after I graduated. So
I spoke with an advisor and realized I really wanted to study abroad. So I delayed my graduation by a year, got to go to South Korea and studied in Seoul for a semester, and it was amazing. And I'm telling you, like, everyone should do study abroad. You can find scholarships that will help you pay for it if you think there's a financial aspect that will hold you back. But took 5 years, did not regret a single bit of it, so yeah. I think it just depends on who you are and where you're at in your life. I mean, there's more, like Holly said, there's people that do it in 4, people do it at 5. I'm past those a little bit, but I have no shame because I was working to support myself. I don't come from a background where I was privileged to have the financial money coming from my parents, so I have no regrets in taking the time that I needed to establish myself.
Yep. So I think the general gist of it is they really just want you to do it for yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people, just go with your own flow. I believe Peggy talked a little bit about an internship, and so I was just curious as to how, if you guys have done any professional development like that, how did you stumble across that internship opportunity, or maybe perhaps like a career opportunity? How did you guys like go about that in college? Was it a mentor, a professor who told you, or did you kind of have to do it yourself?
So for that internship at the state lab, I heard about it from a friend, and she advised me to sign up for it. She's actually right there, if you guys want to know. I'd like to give her credit. But she did the internship before me, and she told me about it and thought that I would be a good fit because of my microbiology background, and it was, because it helped lead me to public health. So that was great. Otherwise, a lot of the things that I picked up along the way, I was part of the Pre-Med Association. I don't know if you guys heard of that. It's a club on campus for pre-med students or other health organizations, and they would announce all these different opportunities, and I took advantage of them.
Well, I'm in Nutrition Council, and I also volunteer and job shadow a dietitian. And I found that all on my own. I mean, I have resources that people tell me, like, oh, you should go volunteer here or that, but to really, like, go out and, like, call the dietitian. Like, where I volunteer at Ikahi Health Ornish program, and I personally emailed her and called her and asked if I could have that opportunity to, like, get one step in the field already. It's really, like, how much you want it is what you're going to get out of it. But definitely use other people around you, but even if you don't have that, you still have yourself to go out and go get what you want.
I agree with that totally. I think it takes a lot of effort to put yourself out there, but taking that risk, it can pay off in big ways. Like I did research and I kind of heard about it through a friend too, but I had to call the professor, arrange, kind of talk with him about what our goals were, and he would kind of like ask for my resume and what kind of experience I had. So it was kind of intimidating, but he took me on in the end and he wrote me like a good letter of recommendation. So I'm really grateful for that experience.
I don't have an answer. I didn't do internship.
It's fine. Did you were able to like shadow or volunteer anywhere for KRS?
For volunteering, so actually they have a motor clinic, so it's 443 and then 270 and 477. So you get a chance to teach PE to kids for a good hour, 2 times a week for the whole semester, and they're I'm sure everybody enjoys PE some way. You know, you guys all love to run and everything, but I think it's definitely something good here. And then there's another class too that promotes from health, the health office over here downstairs. So I was able to get volunteer hours through that. So just through classes, signing up, looking through all those classes, all those flyers on campus, they actually do help if you read them.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So actually read through and take the chance to, like you said, take the initiative to call. And you guys all sound like very busy people. So what would be a typical day in your shoes? Like, would you be working half day and going to class after? Is it just all work on most days and then class on the other days? Or, yeah, if you wanted to start, what's your typical day like?
Well, when I was younger, when I first started UH, it'd be every day because you're a freshman, you're underclassmen, you don't get to pick really. And you usually have the later classes, especially the general labs. UH likes to do that for whatever reason. But as you transition, I didn't dorm here. I did the commute, so out in Eva Beach, if you guys know, other side of the island. So I did the commute thing. So I woke up early. I was the one that slept in the car. I still sleep in the car. But that's how I liked it. And now
through the years I learned to schedule my classes around traffic. So I'm only here at campus 3 times a week this semester, and the other 2 days I work, and then on the weekend I volunteer at church.
Right now I'm just a full-time student. When I was an undergrad, I did have a student job, so I was on campus every day for classes, and like in between my classes I would be working. As a med student, Jobson has like a pretty good study schedule system, so I'd be having classes like half day and then studying for the rest of the time. And in my 3rd year, I was doing clinical rotation, so I was pulling like between 40 to 80-hour work weeks. And now I'm back to being full-time student. I only have classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday I kind of dedicate to research / catching up on everything else.
I'm on federal student aid, so I have to be a full-time student. So that's 12 credits or more, but I usually do around 15. But a typical day, I go to class. On Mondays, I don't want to scare you guys, but on Mondays I'm in class from 8:20 to 5:30 at night. But it's okay, because I have a 2-hour gap to eat and take a little nap. And I live on campus, so I can wake up 30 minutes before class. It's a 5-minute walk. It's okay. But no, that's typically it. And then I volunteer about 2 to 3 days a week for around 3 hours, and then sometimes 5 hours. And then if I'm not in class, if I'm not volunteering, I'm studying, because I'm getting paid. Like, my school's being paid for. That's important, But that doesn't mean I don't have downtime. Like, if you prioritize your time, you're gonna find yourself with time to hang out with your friends. Like, I still have a social life, but school is the main thing. Just always remember that.
So I'm a full-time student right now, and besides that, I'm also teaching a lab on the side, so I do that during the week. I've taken a break from doing research right now as I'm applying for school, but I'll go back hopefully next week. My PA is kind of freaking out that I'm not back yet. And on the weekends, I have a part-time job. I work at the emergency room as a scribe, so I do that. So again, you can still have a social life. I do. When I have free time, I make sure that I try to coordinate with my friends so that we can go out, because really you have to take some time for yourself too.
Okay, so all of us here on the panel are way past like our freshman, sophomore years. And one of the things a lot of people, like I remember when I was a freshman, I would ask, upperclassmen all the time, if you could do one thing differently, or if you could change something, what would it be and why? Or what wouldn't you have changed about maybe perhaps your journey to get where you are now? If Peggy, if you wanted to start us off, would you have changed anything about undergrad at all? Something you wish you had done, or something you wish you had put more time into? You can share a little bit about that.
Let me think. Well, my pathway was not my expected pathway that I wanted to go, and that's why it probably took me 5 years. I definitely, if you do have an idea of what you want to do, go seek an advisor. I wish I took advantage of the pre-health, law advising center that's in Sinclair. I mean, they really help you map out your classes and everything. And once I found out about that resource, I wished I knew about it freshman year so that I could have, projected everything out and had everything better planned. So that's really the only thing. Otherwise, I don't regret anything that I've done during my undergrad. Again, I totally do not regret taking the extra year to go study abroad, because it was really one of the best experiences I've had so far. So.
If I could go back, I'd probably start volunteering from my freshman year, because it's one thing to sit in class and take notes and then use all that knowledge you learned just to sit down for another hour and take a test. But when you're in that setting of the field you want to be in, that's when you really use your knowledge. That's when things are going to start clicking. You're like, oh, that's why I learned that. So if you can get in your field, get just 1 foot, even if it's just a little tippy toe in, you're going to learn way more. And I wish I would have done that from the beginning, because only now I'm starting to volunteer, and only now things are clicking left and right. And I'm like, okay, I understand my classes. A test is it's way easier now. So I definitely would suggest that.
I think mine is more just geared towards the pre-med aspect of my track with the MCAT. So I ended up having to take it twice, and having to pay that testing fee 2 times and study for it 2 times was such a pain in the butt. So I guess biggest lesson I learned from that was if you make a plan to study for something, just stick to that plan. Like, you're putting time into something, you have to stick with it.
And if you could just give us a general estimate, how much does it cost to take the MCAT for all our aspiring doctors out here?
I don't remember.
But it was still hefty. It's hefty.
300, so yeah, I guess I ended up paying $600.
Yeah. And it's like pretty much like a whole day thing, right?
It's 6 hours.
6 hours. It's a 6-hour test, $300 of your own money.
Right, so like you're wasting 6 hours for like doing something you hate. So you want to do it only once. So study for it well the first time, so you don't have to do it again.
Got it. Okay.
Mine would just be if you're able to just take 15 credits or more if you can. Because after 12, you're capped off and everything else after that's free. So why not take advantage of that and just to step out of your comfort zone? That's a big one. I wish I wasn't such a shy fish when I was underclassman. But yeah, just be open.
Actually, can I add to what you said?
Of course, yeah. Please feel free to add on to each other's
Like,
responses if you feel so.
I know, like, a lot of you are in high school, right? Like,
This
you're gonna,
particular section.
oh, okay. You're gonna walk in, like, I came from a community college and I walked into class my first day at school and I was like, there's like 300 kids in here, like, this is really scary. And I had no friends here, I'm from another island. Talk to people, like, I recommend you sit next to someone you don't know. And like, you get their number and you talk to them because that's where your resources are really gonna come from. And then once you do that, it's just gonna open up so many doors and you're not gonna be shy. You're gonna wanna meet new people and that's really important, especially in college.
You're gonna want to do things like study abroad, you know. Do you want to talk a little bit about like where did you study abroad in South Korea and like what was the best part about it?
Yeah, I studied at this university called Chungan University. So Korea has like, I guess, 3 really very famous universities. They spell sky, like Seoul, Korea, and Yonsei. However, I initially wasn't planning to go to Korea and I ended up selecting Australia, but that didn't pan out. So I ended up Chungan. It's like, have you guys ever heard of that song Gangnam Style? It's like literally kind of next to it, and it was a school for more of the actresses and actors in Seoul. So I got to see some of them walking around. Unfortunately, I didn't know who they were, so I didn't recognize them. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience because it was the first time I got to be by myself and independent, away from my family. You know, I got to live on my own, explore a city where. They're pretty proficient in English, but there are some people who couldn't speak the language, so I had to learn how to adapt. And yeah, it was, you know, a really great, you know, I think learning experience for myself. And I'm a science major, so a lot of the opportunities to study abroad, it's not geared towards science majors, but I tacked on a business minor and took a lot of business classes there, so I really recommend that if that's something that you guys are interested in. And and again, with the financial aspect, I think about 90% of my study abroad program was paid for by financial aid because I aggressively applied to scholarships and had it all paid. And Seoul was one of the more cheaper places to go, so it was really affordable for me at the end of the day to go to these things. And again, I highly recommend it.
Well, that I think pretty much wraps up my portion of today's program. So thank you to our wonderful panelists again. And if you want to talk to them after sipping your smoothies, I believe some of them might stick around a little bit after. So feel free to approach them if you're not, we don't really have time for a question and answer right now, but please tap into them as a resource, ask them about their journey and everything.
And if you don't want to talk to me, my other nutrition council people are all in black, so just look at them. But you can talk to me, feel free.
Yeah, they made the smoothies, so thank them again. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you.